Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Well, is that not the truth or what? It does not matter who the host is. Today is Monday, February the 28th. Of 2022, day 59th of the year, and only 306 days left to go, depending on how you take a look at it. Of course, as we are. Anyways, I hope you had a fantastic weekend, depending on what the hell you had going on, because, you know, sometimes those things do matter. So before I say anything dumber than what I normally do, just to be on the safe side there. Anyways, we are broadcasting live from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM, and then, of course, hanging out with our friends and colleagues at that other place that we tend to do things at. Radio Big. Oh, yes, we are hanging out with our friends at Radio Big.FM as we are doing everything that we do. Anyway, so let's start talking right away about some of the stuff that is going on inside of the world. So we're going to go a little bit of everywhere because that's kind of what we tend to do as we are talking. So over the weekend, hashtag Ukraine-Russian war trended all weekend as Twitter users around the world reacted to devastating headlines and the heartbreaking images from Ukraine. Saturday was National Tell a Fairy Tale Day. Johnny Cash was also making the rounds as it was saying that he was that he turned 90 on Saturday. Hashtag Pokemon was trending on Sunday as fans of the video game series were also tweeting about how the new Pokemon characters resembles Disney's Donald Duck. So if you haven't seen a look at it, take a look because there is some similarities there for sure. Also, American Idol was trending as fans and were excited about the return of American Idol on Sunday night. And the SAG Awards was trending on Sunday as that was taking place yesterday, if I remember correctly, on how that was actually going. So there you go. What else did we see? What else did we see that was out there? Of course, the box office was another thing that was going on, but we can talk about it now or we can talk about it later, so it all just depends on what you want to do. So let's do it now. Let's take from 5 to 1 and 1 to 5. So at number 5 spot was Jackass Forever at $3.1 million, stayed at number 5. At number 4 was Death of the Nile, which with $4.5 million, stayed at number 4. Spider-Man No Way Home stayed at number 3 with $5.7 million. At number 2 was Dog with $10.1 million, stayed at number 2. And at the number 1 spot for 2 weekends in a row is Uncharted with $23.2 million. So think about that. That means that Tom Holland has two movies in the top spots, in the top 3 spots that are going on here in the movie theaters in the U.S. Anyway, so let's start talking. Let's move and groove and see what is going on inside of the world of the news, because, you know, that's going to be a portion of what we have going on here. So let's talk about it. Let's bring in our friends at Feature Story News to do so.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in London, I'm Ollie Barrett. A Ukrainian delegation is at the Belarus border for talks with Russia. Kiev says it doesn't expect a major breakthrough, but is calling for an immediate ceasefire and withdrawal of Russian troops. The UK says Russia's invasion of Ukraine is in chaos. Defense Secretary Ben Wallace says Moscow's plans have not played out as expected. He warns Vladimir Putin could significantly escalate military action to speed up progress, but he insists Moscow has so far not been getting its way.
The Russians have still failed to take a number of their key objectives. The 2 big cities up in the northeast of the country, actually quite close to the Russian border, have put up not only a good resistance, they've actually repelled the Russians. They haven't even gone near the west of the country yet. They've only focused on their own border cities, which they haven't managed to take. They have a bit more success down in Crimea. They broke out of Crimea and are heading, fun enough, back towards Russia to the sort of breakaway republics and those 2 cities there. But fundamentally, fundamentally, what they are clearly trying to do is encircle Kiev, and at the moment they haven't been successful. They are taking casualties on a daily basis. They are a little in chaos in some areas. Their logistics supply chains are slowing.
European Union officials and ministers are following up on plans to purchase lethal arms for the Ukrainian army. The never-before-seen move is part of the bloc's broader response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Rosie Burchard reports from Brussels.
Brussels is busy hashing out the details of its response to the conflict in Ukraine. Energy ministers from the EU's 27 member states are due to meet to discuss the impact of the invasion on energy markets and how to further reduce EU dependence on Russian gas. Separately, the bloc's top diplomat announced defence ministers were to meet on Monday to follow up on EU plans to provide lethal weapons to Ukraine's army, an unprecedented move that the EU has described as a watershed moment. Meanwhile, the bloc's Home Affairs Commissioner Ylva Johansson is travelling to the border between Romania and Ukraine to lay out a clearer path forward on the EU's refugee reception plans. Rosie Burchard, Brussels.
Japan is considering imposing sanctions on Belarusian officials over the crisis. Belarus is allowing the passage of Russian troops to Ukraine. Phoebe Amoroso reports from Tokyo.
Japan could sanction Belarusian individuals, including top officials. Tokyo is also coordinating to put pressure on Moscow. Kishida announced Sunday that Japan would block access by some Russian banks to the SWIFT international payment system, joining a move by the United States and European Union. It will also freeze assets held by Russian President Vladimir Putin and other Russian government officials. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken tweeted that Japan's comprehensive financial sanctions mirror those of the U.S. and demonstrate the two allies' unity and resolve to end what he called Russia's war of choice. Phoebe Amoroso, Tokyo.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. Ukraine is demanding a ceasefire from Russia. Officials from both countries are meeting at this hour. Ukraine's president says the number one demand is for troops to withdraw immediately. He also wants the European Union to urgently let them join. It's day 5 of the Russian invasion in Ukraine, and the next 24 hours will be crucial. Kelly Kobiela reports on Ukrainian refugees trying to get into Poland.
Thousands of women and children are still fleeing the fighting in Ukraine, some ending up here at this small train station on the border with Poland. There is a humanitarian crisis unfolding in a number of countries now: Poland, Moldova, Romania, Hungary.
A U.S. official says neighboring Belarus is expected to join Russian forces as soon as today. If that happens, it could complicate talks. This comes as Russia's president confirms he's put nuclear forces on high alert. Troops have already moved deeper into Ukraine, attacking the second-largest city, but not yet overtaking it. 4,000 U.S. Army troops deployed in Europe are having their tour of duty extended. Mark Mayfield with the details.
While the exact amount of time is unknown, it is expected to be for several weeks. This is part of America's effort to reassure Eastern European allies during the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. An Army spokesman said the troops will only be there for as long as they are needed. Additional support troops will also see their tours extended as well.
Facebook and Twitter have removed 2 accounts spreading anti-Ukrainian propaganda. Trey Thomas reports.
One of the 2 is linked to a known Russian disinformation operation, and the other has connections to Belarus, which is supporting the Russian invasion of Ukraine. The 2 accounts were pushing questionable claims made by Russian President Vladimir Putin.
Russia's ongoing attack on Ukraine is fueling a surge in gas prices. AAA's national average price for regulars up to $3.61 a gallon. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Hey, are you tired of hanging around and talking about safety in a boring kind of format? Well, I got something for you. If you haven't hung out with us yet at safetyfm.com, I'm going to encourage you to do so. Yeah, if you come out to Safety FM, you can come hang out with all kinds of safety professionals. Some are safety professionals, some are just people that are talking about safety. But we want to do it in a format that makes it fun and entertaining. If you're kind of trying to figure out what the FM portion is, well, we're a radio station and also a podcast network. You can come out, hang out, and listen to my show, The Jay Allen Show. You can listen to Todd Conklin with the pre-accident investigation, Blaine J. Hoffman with the Safety Pro, the Hop Nerd, Sam Goodman, just to name a few on what can be found on the station. Different things for different people, trying to bring Safety in an entertaining form. SafetyFM.com. Go to the website, download the app, and carry it with you all day long. SafetyFM.com. We'll be waiting for you.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to get in touch with each other in no time.
Idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was fine.
the most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
We all want to make sure that our family is protected in medical emergencies. What many of us don't realize is that health insurance won't always cover the full amount of an emergency medical flight. Even with comprehensive coverage, you could get hit with high deductibles and copays. That's why an Air Medcare Network membership is so important. As a member, if an emergency arises, you won't see a bill for air medical transport when flown by an AMCN provider. Best of all, a membership covers your entire household for as little as $85 a year. AMCN providers are called upon to transport nearly 100,000 patients a year. This is coverage no family should go without. Now, as a Jay Allen Show listener, you'll get up to a $50 e-gift card with a new membership. Simply visit airmedcarenetwork.com/safety and use the offer code SAFETY. And don't forget to tell them that Jay Allen sent you.
Hello, Kubo. What have you got planned for today?
Come on, this way.
Adventure can be found anywhere, but the best place to start is in the forest.
It's the most powerful magic there is.
Head outside to discover incredible animals.
Wow.
And beautiful plants that come together to create an unforgettable adventure. So grab your loved ones and explore a world of possibilities. Visit discovertheforest.org to find the closest forest or park to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
My teacher said that we should have a plan in case of an emergency. Do we have one?
First thing I'm going to do is grab a flashlight with dead batteries.
I'm going to start randomly throwing clothes in the bag. You two will be hiding in the closet and Dad won't be able to find you.
And that's when we both start crying.
Uncontrollably. Can you pass the cutlets?
Winging it is not an emergency plan. Make sure your kids know what to do during an emergency, who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311. Brought to you by the New York City Office of Emergency Management and the Ad Council.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, there you go, there you go, there you go. Currently 14 minutes past the top of the hour as you and I are hanging on this lovely Monday. It's very lovely. I have to add, it is very lovely. Anyway, so let's talk about what's going on inside of the world of the hit list. The Ukrainian military and armed civilians appear to be putting up much stronger of a fight than the Russian invasion thought was going to occur. This is according to observers that expected things not to go too well. Anyways, hero of our time, the Associated Press reports that then American officials offered to evacuate Ukraine, the Ukrainian president, and then he replied, "Nope, the fight is here. I need ammunition, not a ride." Worth noting, facing trucker convoy, Canadian Prime Minister disappeared for the week because he said that he had COVID. By the way, as noted last week, President, I'm going to butcher his name because I already know that I am, Vladimir Zelensky was on TV before winning the presidency in Ukraine as Franklin Herd pointed out on Twitter. Zelensky is also the voice of Paddington in the Ukraine, the kid's animated bear. I don't know why that's important, but that's just something also as well. And then people, of course, were posting online that Zelensky was actually won the Ukrainian version of Dancing with the Stars back in 2006. Is this really important information to be sharing at this moment? I mean, I don't think it is, but I mean, glad for letting me know that he did play Paddington as the voiceover, and then I guess also thanks for letting us know that he won Dancing with the Stars. I don't know. Anyways, here's some key updates from over the weekend. A coalition of countries that have agreed to disconnect the Russian bank from SWIFT, which will isolate the country's financial resources of money held by billionaires that allied with Vladimir Putin. So let's see. Russia reported that it holds $640 billion in assets abroad, but about 400 million of those are funds in the G7 countries will also be able to shut off access. The bank disconnection has caused the value of the ruble to plummet. Just a few days ago, it was trading at 83 rubles per dollar. By Sunday, it was at 171 rubles per dollar. 171. Visa and MasterCard have disconnected credit cards linked to Russian banks being used abroad. On Friday, a meeting in the UN Security Council failed to condemn Russia because Russia holds veto power. Russia and Ukraine diplomats are believed to be arranging an imminent meeting in Belarus for peace talks. Videos abound on social media of armed Ukrainian civilians holding captured Russian soldiers at gunpoint while the Ruskies called their parents at home to tell them where they are. Ukrainians reportedly catfished Russian soldiers with Tinder profiles. They pose as hot women ready to get down with the Russians invaders, but also a connection to get intelligence. So hold on. This is kind of interesting. You know, I'm just going through a whole list there, telling you what's going on. And somebody had time to catfish somebody on Tinder in regards with everything that's going on. Oh, let's go invade a country, and I think it might be a good time to get a little hanky-panky in regards of this. And while we're doing the invasion, we'll take a look at what's going on. Anyways, let's continue with some of this. Pornhub reportedly blocked access to anyone in Russia trying to access the porn trove instead of displaying the Ukrainian flag with a message of solidarity. So hold on, what is going on here? So you're telling me with this invasion stuff going on, people are going to try to do some Tinder action, and all of a sudden they're getting caught for intelligence, and then all of a sudden, if you're in Russia, all of a sudden you went to Pornhub, and all of a sudden you get the Ukrainian flag. Talk about some weird things going on for sure inside of there.
More sarcasm than a Mortal Kombat beatdown. Rated R, safety show.
Okay, even the consistently neutral Swedish government has pledged 5,000 anti-tank missiles for the Ukraine army. Awesome. Late last week, Ukrainian Minister of Digital Transformation tweeted at Elon Musk asking him to provide access to his Starlink satellite internet service. Within hours, Musk replied to Twitter, Starlink service is now active in the Ukraine, more terminals en route. So think about that. The world's richest man who actually controls this thing called Starlink, if you're not familiar with it, what it is satellite-based internet service, high-speed internet service. Now, you have to have some versionality of a satellite just to be able to make the connection to it. But all of a sudden, for him to move these satellites, for them to actually make linkage, for people to still be able to access the internet, that's important. Now, how soon will the actual digital disc be available? That's going to be another question in part of it. But man, think about that. You know, to some extent, you think about it, and he's like a true Tony Starks. That's for sure, is what it sounds like from time to time as we are talking. Anyway, so as we get into more stuff here, I think it might be time to bring in some Johnny Smalls and let him tell you what's going on inside of the market beat.
Here's your Market Beat Minute for Monday, February 28th, 2022. The major indices fell to new lows last week, but buyers stepped in on Thursday and Friday to buy the dip. The S&P 500 ended the week well off its low and above the key 4,300 level. The move confirms support at the bottom of a trading range and may lead to higher prices this week, but there is still risk ahead. There is still a concern in Russia, and the earnings outlook is dimming. Plus, the NFP report will be out on Friday. If the S&P 500 can continue to rally this week, it will need to get above the short-term 30-day moving average, which is near 4,450, to be in the clear. Even so, there is the risk of resistance at the December lows near 4,500, so it's no time for investors to be complacent. If the market cannot get above the combined resistance of the short-term moving average and the 4,500 level, investors should brace for a retest of the recent lows. You can get the inside track in your inbox at marketbeatminute.com.
Okay, thank you, Johnny Smalls, for that one and what is going on inside of that side of the world as well. Anyways, new guidance from the CDC issued Friday relaxes mask mandate guidance in much of the country, now taking into account hospital capacity and other risk factors. Meanwhile, in New York on Sunday, New York Governor Cathy announced that the indoor mask mandate would also end for schools in her state on Wednesday. Meanwhile, in D.C., Axis reports that the attending physician to Congress has announced that masks are no longer required at the complex. Meanwhile, in Ottawa, Canada's state news apparatus reports that the residents of Ottawa are traumatized from the weeks of honking by the convoy parked there. The CBC describes the phenomenon as what sounds like blaring truck horns, but actually there are actually no sounds going there. Something to think about. Meanwhile, on the road to D.C., One American Convoy organizer says that its rally is in the works to include performances by Ted Nugent and Kid Rock, as well as third unnamed special guests, and many are guessing it will be former President Trump. So there you go. You know, the convoy that should be there by the end of the week, heading towards D.C. I don't know. There's a lot of interesting stuff going on inside of this time of the world with some of these things that we are talking about. So it's interesting just to see some of the changes that are going on around there and everything that's kind of circulating as we are talking. I wonder why, if there is a third special guest, why would they not announce that it is the former president ahead of time? That's the interesting part. Unless you have to, be in the know to know, what I'm saying? Yeah, there you go. Anyways, a New York man has won $10 million on a scratch-off game for the second time. Hold on, he won $10 million for a second time? The NBC News report that Juan Hernandez won a prize earlier this month, just 2 years after winning the same amount in 2019. He tells NBC, I'm still trying to spend $10 million I won in 2019. He'll take home just north of $6.5 million in a lump sum post-tax payout. Interesting, though, right? I mean, you would think that after you won one time, you would think that your odds are so far off of doing it again that why play it again? But hey, man, if you can pull off the magic trick, good for you. Good for you. Anyways, business executives and entrepreneur Marcus Lenormous announced Saturday that he's gifting $15 million to Marquette University. The gift will support renovation for the Memorial Library on campus, which will bear Lenormous's name on its as it's completed as Lemonis Center for Student Success. Lemonis is a graduate of Marquette University, where he completed a bachelor's degree in political science back in 1995. Lemonis has the business revamp show, The Profit, on CNBC, and is currently the CEO of Camping World. He is believed to be worth about $500 million. So good for him. Good for him on helping, his former, school, because that's what he's doing. Anyways, 25 minutes past the top of the hour. If you want to come out, hang out, and do some things and all that kind of fun stuff. I see people popping in over there at Call-In Radio, leaving some messages. Always a good thing for us to take a look-see at and see, what we can pull in and not pull in and all that other kind of stuff, fun stuff. Anyways, the Central Public Library in Silver Springs, Maryland is set to be renamed after Charles McGee, a member of the Turkish airmen who died a few weeks ago at 102. McGee retired as one of the generals. So there you go. Pennsylvania's Fish and Boat Commission reports that a lucky fisherman caught a 45.5 muskie that weighs 25 pounds last week. Fisherman Daniel Salter grabbed a photo and catched it and ultimately released it. So there you go. Be sure that the fine print is the fine print on your home insurance policy if you're shopping for a pet. One of Phoenix's couple says that they are adopting a pit bull. Hartford Financial Services Group canceled their policy, calling the pooch ineligible breed. Meanwhile, a state representative in Arizona is working on legislation to ban dog discrimination when it comes to insurance policies. You can't have it because it's not an approved poochie. So there you go. So let's talk about this. Let's talk a little bit more here about what is going on. I talked about the crash, about the ruble. Take a listen to this. We got some Mike Bowers talking about
The collapse in the currency prompted the Russian central bank to implement emergency measures on Monday, including a doubling in interest rates to 20% from 9.5%. A run on Russian banks inside the country already appears to be underway as ordinary Russians fear their credit cards might no longer work and have been waiting in long lines to withdraw cash from ATMs. I'm Mike Bauer.
So a lot of stuff going on there. So a little bit of changes, and we get that in as real time as possible as some of these changes are taking place. So we try to talk about them as they are coming about as we are talking. Take a listen to this one real quick. Bars, liquor stores are pulling Russian vodka. A number of bars and liquor stores across America are showing their support for people in Ukraine by pulling Russian vodka off their shelves. Jamie Stratton owns a wine, liquor, and beer store in Wichita, Kansas, and explains why dumping his stock of Russian vodka.
There's no reason for it to be here. We're not supporting them. What they're doing right now is going to cost the world a lot of problems.
So Russian forces have been attacking Ukraine for days now. The fear is that those forces will attempt to take the capital of Kyiv. So there you go. A lot of stuff going on inside of there as we are talking this morning about some other things going on. And it just seems like a lot of stuff is happening as we are speaking. So let's talk about this. One person is now in the University of Iowa, is in the hospital after a Davenport fire. Paul Rubidoux has the report.
Firefighters say they arrived at the location of a former YMCA in the 600 block of West 2nd Street Sunday afternoon to see a person in a window with smoke coming from the window as well. The resident was rescued by firefighters and taken to a local hospital. They were airlifted to Iowa City later Sunday in critical condition. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. A total of 16 firefighters responded to the fire. No other injuries were reported. I'm Paul Rubidoux.
Okay, thank you very much for that one in regards of what is going on inside of the world there. So let's continue talking. Some Ukraine worries, of course, as we are talking this morning. A Utah man was trying to find a way to get his fiancée and her son out of Ukraine. Clark Smith of Demeaned says that his wife has been trying to stay safe in Kyiv since the Russian action began last week.
Every day since, she wakes up to missiles being dropped around her and explosions and gunfire.
His goal is to get his fiancée across the border into Poland and fly her and her son to Utah. Smith says that he has contacted Utah's 2 U.S. senators in hopes of getting some help. In the meantime, they keep in touch by phone, telling each other that they will be together soon. Smith is focusing on how he feels to be the best possible outcome for him and his fiancée.
For me, myself, that I can get my wife to safety. I would love for her to be home here in Utah in my arms.
You know, it's kind of confusing because I keep on saying fiance, he keeps on saying wife, and I think that he would know better than I do. So maybe it was his wife and not his fiance. There you go. Thank you very much for the information. I think we're far enough in that it's time to do that thing that we like to call, it our main story. So let's do that right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So, as you can tell, it is 30 minutes past the top of the hour. We are still here on the Rated R Safety Show, coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And I wanted to gather you here together today, if you paid a close attention to the titling of this thing, and let's have a terrible time. That's what I would love for us to do today. Let's have a terrible time. Huh? Yeah, you heard me. So let's think about this real quick. You know how sometimes you go somewhere and they ask you, are you having a good time? And people will say, yes, that's what it is. That's what's going on. And let's move forward. Well, not today. Let's have a terrible time. Now, are you slightly confused on that comment? Because I sure as shit, when I was writing it out this morning, knew that I was confused by when I was saying it. And let's talk about that. Let's talk about some of the confusion that these things might cause. And the reason behind it is we go through this whole aspect that we want to be able to assist people in the work that we do, but sometimes we want to put them through misery. And what do I mean when I say this? I want you to think about this real quick. And now, depending on where you're at going down this path of things, this could be a difficult one to talk about. So let's kind of tread lightly here as we do so. But if you are still kind of new into your safety career, this might be a difficult one to talk about. This might be a difficult one to go into and talk about. So let's go through it. Most of the times when people start off inside of their world of safety, they're not the nicest people starting off. And I'm saying most, I'm not saying all, so let's just make sure that we're clear. And some people tend to be mean when they're trying to teach others on things that need to be done, especially if something goes wrong. Just because somebody was involved in a car or a vehicle incident that, let's say, for instance, is driving inside of your organization, because that's part of what their job is, being louder and meaner and making them go through torture chambers in regards of doing it does not mean that it's going to make things simpler for them or it's going to make things better for them. Sometimes our approach as safety professionals comes across where people will even deem it as safety cops. And I'm not saying all cops are bad, so let's make sure that we're clear here. But you know that expectation that people have sometimes that go, oh no, things are going to be bad because the cops are here, or some have that, which is not really a thing depending on who you're actually interacting with. But think about this. I am trying to put some very generic terms inside of this as we are talking. Nobody ever goes to work with the intent of injuring people. Nobody ever goes to work with the intent of being injured, and nobody goes to work for quote unquote a bad time. And now let me make sure that I'm clear here that I'm not saying that every time that we go to work, it is a party, it is a let's have some ooh la la and do all this other kind of fun stuff. That's not what I'm saying. But nobody goes to work to be demeaned. Nobody goes to work with the intent of being treated terribly. Listen, I understand that the job that you do and the job that a lot of us do inside of this profession is not the easiest job on the planet. And there is a different way of teaching and there is a different ways of coaching. Some people think that harsh love has to be the better way of doing so to make sure that things go better inside of the organization. They want to take that hard approach in regards to when they're speaking to people because they think that it's going to be better in the long run. I'm going to tell you something. It is not the easiest thing to do. People are not going to love you when it comes to that. And, you know, it can come down to one of those things that people are going to be like, well, some people need some tough love. Well, I agree. Some people do, but not everybody. I mean, think about this real quick. Think about the fashion of how you learn. Think about the ways that you like to be approached. Do you think that there are other people out there that want to be approached in the same format? Because if you like to be mean to people, do you do that because that is something that you like personally? Or do you like when people are nice to you? And listen, I know that everybody learns differently. But I also know that nobody goes to work with the intent of wanting to be mistreated. So if you notice that your approach is not the greatest, maybe it's time to start having that communication of learning on how to adapt to people. I know some people go, what? Yes. Others are not supposed to adapt to you, especially if you're in a leadership position. You're supposed to be able to adapt to them. You know, I've had some good representation in leaders in some of the workplaces that I've been to. And the best leaders that I've seen, they can really take a good temperature of what's going on inside of the room and know who wants to be praised in public and know how to actually counsel in private. I'm going to tell you, there's some people out there that don't like to be praised in public, and I get it. And for sure, people do not like to be counseled in public. So do you think that if you're in front of a large group, that's the right time to do so? Nobody came to work for a terrible time. when it's all said and done, sometimes we tend to forget, even though we can have a lot of knowledge base when it comes to the world of safety, but if we don't have soft skills, our personal skills, well, you're probably not going to make it as far as you want. Now, that's something to think about on a Monday. But what do I know? I'm just a guy behind a microphone.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
It may be hard to believe, but people just like you are already saving money. FeedThePig.org makes it easy. Their simple savings plan teaches you how to start saving without going overboard, so you don't need to start foraging wild berries.
I was skeptical, but these are actually pretty good.
You don't need to sell your soul to the devil.
$15 is the best I can do.
You just need FeedThePig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at FeedThePig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all gotta see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week, nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
The storks are bringing me a baby brother. We can do this together.
All right, let's go.
Storks know how to keep kids safe. Do you?
What?
Oh my gosh, you don't know.
I know.
You don't. Oh man, you laugh when you're uncomfortable.
No.
Making sure your child is in the right car seat is one of the steps to safer travel.
I will rock this.
You will rock this.
To know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Cool. Very cool.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's important to plan ahead for emergencies, like the storm. When it kicked in, we had a plan.
Separated.
We were able to
all
get in touch with each other
and
in
had
no
no
time.
idea how to find each other.
The whole experience was
the
fine.
most frightening 10 hours of my life.
If there's one piece of advice I'd offer other moms out there, it's to stay calm and keep to the plan.
Message.
Some parents plan ahead, some don't. Make sure you know where to find your family in an emergency. Start your plan at ready.gov. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
'Cause I am just your anything. You throw my heart around. This ain't true love, boo. But this ain't true love. This ain't me right here, so I'm gonna leave you to be with someone who doesn't care. You've been lying and lying and lying and lying to me like forever. I can't believe that I bought your shit. I was too blind to see what you did behind my back. So well hidden that I lost my track. I try and I try and I try and I try the way I try. It's time to say goodbye.
Okay, 41 minutes past the top of the hour.
This is what love do.
This one's called What Love Do. This is by Dejana. This song's readily available on Spotify and iTunes. It's a good little jam here. If you like the beats, if you like the 2020s, and you like the pops, there you go. Nice little combination for you to do so. Anyways, the song's available, like I said, on Spotify and iTunes if you want to give it a download. What Love Do, Dejana. Okay, 42 after. Let's get moving and grooving. We got some things to do and little time to do so. Anyways, here we go. Let me tell you the most important thing that I'm going to tell you throughout the whole show, and that is for sure. Let me tell you about my friends at the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Whether you have struggled with suicide yourself or have lost a loved one, know that you're not alone. Hear about personal experiences from people in your local communities whose lives have been impacted by suicide and depression. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to their website, afsp.org. That is afsp.org, or call 1-800-273-8255. That's 1-800-273-8255, or text the word TALK to 741-741. Seriously, you never know when you're going to need the information. There is all kinds of stuff that's going on there. You can actually take a look at some real stories that are going on. You can assist in making a difference, or you can even join a local chapter if you're so inclined to do so. Anyways, want to share that with you because I always think that that information is very important as we are hanging out on this lovely Monday. So save your skin. Let's talk about it. Do you sleep on your side, stomach? A skin expert is saying that you shouldn't. If you want to avoid the signs of aging, Dr. Farah Mustafa, a dermatologist and a director of laser and cosmetic at Tufts Medical Center, says that repeatedly sleeping on your side or on your stomach means that your face is pushed against a pillow. This pressure of the skin can cause wrinkles to form. Lines are causing by sleeping on your side or your stomach usually appears on vertical wrinkles. While horizontal expression lines are formed when a person makes facial movement while raising their eyebrows. Mustafa says that there is definitely some benefits from sleeping on your back and to avoid a lot of compression forces that would occur on your face that create lines over time. The drawback of sleeping on your back, it can increase snoring and sleep apnea, and many people don't think that the natural position to sleep in. Of course, if you sleep on your back, those wrinkles will be obscured by the pillow that your wife uses to smother you. I guess now that we know that Keith Richards has been sleeping, how he's been sleeping all these years, and then the solution to not being able to sleep on your back is just have a few drinks. If my wife complains, are to be believed. So there you go. Just something to think about as we are talking, for sure.
Listen at your own risk. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so let's talk about throwing some shade here. For you may have done some research of the family genealogy, but these people came up with the family forest. Researchers at the University of Oxford's Big Data Institute have created the largest ever family tree, linking more than 27 million people, both living and long dead, around the world. They say that it's a major milestone in the journey of mapping the entirety of the human genetic relationship. They say they've come up with a genealogy of all humanity, which allows them to see every person's genetic sequence that relates to every other person, and it's simply in terms as the comprehensive tree, which is in form of both the research paper and video. It depicts how people around the world are interrelated, like all encompassing 23andMe. The family tree provides the info where when our human ancestors live, specifically in Africa, and may have helped predicted who might have been more susceptible to diseases such as COVID-19. So all of a sudden we have thousands of relatives that we never knew, and it's just like winning the lottery, literally. So obviously we're all related from my family to yours. I'm sorry. I mean, that's something that you want to wake up to and find out first thing in the morning on a Monday. Anyways, some other news. A new COVID-19 vaccine has achieved 100% efficiency against severe disease and hospitalization, says its manufacturer, Sanofi and GSQ. The companies are now set to apply for approval of release of the vaccine as both two-dose vaccine and booster shots. Advances of Sanofi GSQ offering includes, because it's not an mRNA based, it can be produced inexpensively and stored at a refrigerator temperatures rather than ultra cold storage. Good news is that the low income countries where the vaccine rollout has been, desperately slow, and unlike the vaccines based on mRNA technology, this means the proteins are based as a factor, which is convenience for some vaccine hesitant people to get the shot. Since it is based on older, more widely established technology, I'm still holding, out on the ranch flavored one. So once that occurs, maybe that's the conversation to have. Like many others felt the mental health impact of the pandemic, New Zealander Brooke Lacey had, had her own issues. In hope of helping others, and the 22-year-old has inspired to create a batch of stickers that read, "Please don't take your life today. The world is such a better place with you in it." More than that, more than she realized to say, she printed over 600 of them and put them in public spaces on the back of her car. She probably forgot about the signs for months until she came out of a coffee shop one day to see a piece of paper that was stuck underneath her windshield. Figuring that she had just received, of the end of a nasty note about her parking technique, Lacey was, I guess you will say, surprised to find out the note saying that her writing had saved others' lives. It read, "I left my house with the plans to ask for a sign, any sign. I was doing the right thing. Then I saw your car in a parking lot. Thank you." Lacey's tweet about the incident with the words, "I'm so glad to whoever chose to stay alive. You never know who needs this reminder." And it went viral. So there you go. I think it's a very important stuff to talk about. With that being said, I think it's time to bring in some Johnny Smalls and let him talk about the Motivation Minute. So let's do that now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. Today's quote has been submitted by Brian. Thomas Merton said, "Every moment and every event of every man's life on earth plants something in his soul." What an amazing thought. Think about how you could be impacted by any simple moment in your life. Many inventors were actually inspired to invent something because they were frustrated in a moment and said, there has to be a better way. Then the magic happened. They actually did something about it. We've probably all had a moment of inspiration, but only some will act on that moment. Every moment, even this moment right here, can be the spark that ignites a fire inside of you. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Your Wellness Minute is brought to you by alasamorgan.com. Do you ever feel chronically tired and you're not sure why? One of the biggest reasons people experience tiredness is adrenal fatigue. Too much cortisol, which is stimulated by an overactive amygdala, your brain's fight-or-flight response center. Cortisol is a hormone that adapts your body to stress. And under stress, your body switches to running on glucose regardless of your diet. Cortisol attempts to give you energy, but it ends up making you tired because it mobilizes a lot of glucose that is stored in your liver, and it's also going to make glucose out of protein and fat. One of the remedies for chronic stress or overactive amygdala is vitamin B1, which can be taken in the form of nutritional yeast. Another powerful remedy is ashwagandha, an adaptogen that increases your tolerance to stress. For additional information, check out alasamorgan.com.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
Guilty as charged. There you go. 50 minutes past the top of the hour as we are still hanging and banging on this lovely Monday. So let's talk about this real quick. Russia may blunt sanctions by deepening China's alignment. Global sanctions against Russia may increase their already significant economic reliance on China, Mike Bauer reports.
Moscow could try to blunt the impact of sanctions by deepening its growing alignment with Beijing, giving both countries more leverage in their disputes with the West. But experts point out that could potentially foster resentment in Russia over the increasingly lopsided relationship. Russia already isn't thrilled to be beholden to a country that was once its protege during Soviet times, and is uncomfortable with China's growing presence in Central Asia, which Russia regards as its backyard. Two Chinese state-owned banks have so far restricted some financing to Russia after the invasion, suggesting China's leaders aren't fully willing to tie themselves to Putin's chariot. I'm Mike Bauer.
Okay, thank you, Mike Bauer, for that one as we are talking this morning. Take a listen to this real quick. Sanction crush Russia's currency, double interest rates. Russia financial system is reeling from the crushing sanction as the invasion in Ukraine enters day 5. Let's see. NBC's Keir Simons has more on this.
The Kremlin itself this morning admitting that sanctions are heavy and problematic, though claiming that they will get through it. The middle class here too worrying that a new Iron Curtain is coming down between Russia and the West.
So the ruble was down around 30% against the dollar in early Monday, trading over the impact of the sanctions. Earlier today, the Russian Central Bank announced that it will raise its annual interest rate from 9.5% to 20%, as we have discussed earlier on the show. But hey, worth talking about one more time just to make sure that you're hearing exactly what is going on. So let's talk a little bit more about some other things that are going on inside of the world. By the way, if you're interested in finding out about the SAG Award stuff, we'll be talking about that on RadioBig.fm. So if you want to come over at the top of the hour, we'll go through that whole thing. Just not something that I think we should be talking about here with everything else going on at the moment. So let's continue talking just for the sake of doing so. Back in 2019, YouTube announces it will stop all comments on videos featuring children. The decision comes after pedophiles were leaving inappropriate comments. That happened on this date back in 2019. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Today is Alex Caruso's birthday. He turns 28. Jason Alden, country singer, turns 45. Tasha Smith, 51. Daniel Handler, he's the novelist, yes, 52. Ansley Harriet turned 65. Gilbert Godfrey turned 67. Kelly Bishop, 78. And Mario Andretti, wow, 82. Yeah, he still talks around here every once in a while, if you do pay close attention. And then if you're looking for some days of the year to celebrate, I got some of those for you. Today is National Chocolate Soulful Day, National Floral Design Day, National Public Sleeping Day. So does that mean you go around and sleep in public? That could be an interesting one. And then National Tooth Fairy Day, which I didn't know that was a thing. And then Rare Disease Day. I guess if you're looking for a day in particular, there's probably one out there for you.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
So let's talk about this real quick, like we always talk about safety in the news and safety. An LAPD bomb squad reportedly ignored experts' warning before fireworks disaster. A new report suggests that last summer's destructive fireworks explosion in South Los Angeles could have been avoided if the LAPD bomb squad technician listened to experts. The residents say that finding doesn't come as a shock.
It confirms what we've been saying from the very beginning, and that is that this was gross negligence. Gross, not just gross negligence, but criminal negligence.
The report from the Office of the Inspector General says that the expert team told the bomb squad to break the illegal fireworks down into smaller portions and explode them one by one in the blast of the containment of the truck. Instead, they exploded a volume of weight of fireworks that were too powerful for the truck to handle. The experts reportedly warned the bomb technicians that the containment vessel couldn't handle as many fireworks at the time. The explosion hurt 17 people and displaced dozens, several which still can't find a home nearly 8 months later. Tomorrow, the report will be presented to the LA Police Commission. So a lot of stuff going on right there. Also, in some other news, Virginia governor takes action against Russia with restriction. Governor Glenn Youngkin responds to the Russian invasion Ukraine by ending the partnership and spending. Kathy White has some more information.
Governor Glenn Youngkin is standing in solidarity with the people of Ukraine. Over the weekend, the governor took a number of actions of support following the Russian invasion. Youngkin called on the mayors of Norfolk and Roanoke to end sister city partnerships with Russian cities. Additionally, Youngkin ordered the Department of General Services to inquire if Virginia tax dollars are being spent on goods and services from Russian companies. The governor is also encouraging the leaders in D.C. to step up in this time of crisis. I'm Kathy White.
Okay, thank you, Kathy, for that one. As we are talking here and going through the whole amount of stuff that we have going on. That is for sure. Anyways, if you're looking for some whack facts, I got some of those for you. Ancient slept on pillows made of stone. That doesn't sound comfy. The first Ford had engines made by Dodge. Study shows that when people fall in love, they lose on average 2 close friends. Only 2? No, I'm sorry. Toto was paid $125 per week while filming The Wizard of Oz. Frogs sometimes eat enough fireflies that they can make themselves glow. In England, the Speaker of the House is not allowed to speak. Interesting. You're the Speaker of the House. Please don't speak. What? Yeah, confusing. Anyway, so there you go. There's that one. If you need a random joke for today, I got one for you. Never try to keep up with the Joneses. Drag them down to your level. It's cheaper. What else? If you need a phone starter for today, try this one. What is the strangest food item you've ever snuck into a movie theater? And I said food. I didn't say what was the weirdest thing you ever snuck into a movie theater, because that could be a whole other conversation. And we need to keep this, we need to keep this legit. So let's keep it that way. Anyways, if you need something for the water cooler, try this one. Question: 25% of people under the age of 25 have never been here. Where? Under the age of 25. Keep that in mind. A bank. Yeah. Most people don't ever go into a bank. You trust it with your money, but you've never been there. Crazy. Things to think about. So there you go. That's what's going on that side of the woods. So thank you for hanging out, doing the things that you do here on the Rated R Safety Show. Really do appreciate it. If you are inclined to do so, you can hang out here on Safety FM throughout the day. We have the streaming platform constantly going on and a plethora of different shows available to you. If not, you can come over to our music side of the house, and that would be radiobig.fm if you're so inclined to do so. I'll be going over there for the next couple hours, giving you all the music that I can and talking about some news stories about what's going on. We keep that as live as possible for you and I to be able to interact. So thank you for doing that and taking a listen to so, if you're so inclined. Oh, so here we go. If I can leave you with one more thing before I let you go, if I can leave you with a deep thought, learning is the only thing the mind never exhausts, never fears, and never regrets. Think about it. So there you go. Anyways, I know who you are. You know who I am.
Duh.
Thank you for taking a listen. Really do appreciate it. Can't do what we do without you. The most important part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is the listener. Bye-bye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.